cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off into fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up, party people? It's a Friday, finally. Yes, and I know we're doing Summer Wells today. Dawn Wells is exposed. Deception detective. So we're going to do that, but we're also going to get into Summer Wells. We want to interview Dawn. We have a plan. I'd really like to talk to him. I'd like to come at him, from the heart. I know Dolly Vision's had a chance to do that. I would also love to do that. I would like to think that I have a little bit of interviewing skills and some sympathy, especially for a case such as this one where this little girl has been missing, Summer Wells, for so long. Hello, Cherry Bustos, new member, and Red Wolf, new member. What is up, y'all? How is everybody doing today? It's Friday, and hello, Christine Pitlover and Pam. Carly, thank you for being back. We missed you. And Bree, I know you're here. What's up, Carly, Bree, Davey? Everybody's in the house today. It must be because it's a Friday. So, as we all roll in, again, I know this isn't Madeline Soto, okay? So we're not going to have like thousands of people in this chat, but I'd still like you to hit that like button for me as we get into the show. Now, let me look at chat and see what you guys think. Who here needs a recap on Summer Wells, how long she's been missing, and so forth? I can do a recap, and then we can get into the Dawn Wells interview, and then we're going to call out Dawn Wells, and we're going to try to reach out to him. When I say we, Bree has been amazing at helping me with the community and to reach out to people and collaborate with all of these awesome creators that we've been helping me get interviews and keep them. So, and she's very empathetic as well. And she knows how to talk to people. So therefore, I'm a little harsh sometimes. I could be like, hey, let me have an interview. Even though from the bottom of my heart, I really want to interview them and help them out. Sometimes I come off as harsh. Let's do a recap then. So a couple years, you think, okay, so some of you need refreshers, I think. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to start off with a refresher. And then I have a lot more than just a refresher. But we're going to start off with that because I think a lot of people do forget what happened. She has been missing now, I believe. It's got to have been over 2 years now. And I don't know the exact dates because I can't remember everything. So I think we all need a refresher. And I think the best one that's going to help us, there's many I can choose from. And I think the absolute best one to help is going to be Vinny. So let's play some Vinny for a little bit. We'll talk about it. Yeah, the case gets so messy, Carly. You're right. It is really messy, but that's why we're going to get a recap from him. I have lots of different clips to play of different things. I have a good show tonight. Even though it's not the favorites that everybody wants, we still need 3 years next week. Thank you, Teresa. And that's why the crime crew is so important. You guys all keep me on track. Every single one of you. When I say something wrong or forget it, you help me in chat and you tell me, and we keep each other in line. So thank you so much. 6/15/21 is the day she went missing. And at this point, I'm a realist, and there's two things that happened to her. She didn't leave that house, or she left that house and she was trafficked. Now that I'm getting into a lot more things with more people, I do believe a lot more in trafficking, especially kids. And not that I didn't believe in trafficking, but A little beautiful girl like that could have been trafficked. You have a great show every night. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I have so many more shows coming. We need these babies home. You're interested in this case. Thank you. I have a lot more coming. Behind the scenes is crazy. I'm way too packed, but let's go for a little bit and I'll see what you guys have to say.
Going to begin in Tennessee, Hawkins County, Tennessee. 5-year-old girl. Take a look at her picture. Her name is Summer Wells. We've been covering this one for a while. She was last seen June 15th of this year, June 15th. Massive search efforts. Members of that community, unbelievable. I haven't.
And obviously, when he says June 15th of this year, it's June 15th, 2021. I appreciate that. KJ and everyone else, I'm a realist too. It's not looking good. It's not looking good for Sebastian. If I can get on here later, I want to do a show about all of the things going on because it's a Friday night and I really need to address many things.
Seen a reaction like this since years ago down in Orlando, Florida. Folks are concerned. Folks want to find this little angel, but she's been missing since June 15th. Her mother, Candace Wells, spoke to WJHL. They shared the interview with us, explained what happened the moment, the day that Summer Wells was last seen and when she went.
Okay, so it's interesting because I have this one. We're going to listen to her for a little bit, but then I also have another take on her dad. And now this is kind of like Sebastian, where you have the mom talking one time, the dad talking, them talking together, people being suspicious, and then nothing happening. Is that going to happen with Sebastian, folks? What's going to happen? All right, let's get into it. Let's listen to this a little bit.
She got a piece of candy from grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay. And I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer. I'll be back. And within 2 minutes, I came back. And I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone.
All right, a couple things, right? So she walks into the house, goes into the kitchen. The boys say she goes downstairs to the playroom, and then Mom comes back in 2 minutes. Now, she might be estimating it. She might not be exactly right, but she comes back very quickly.
Are people starting to remember this case and refreshing out? Now, this is like many other cases, and I am going to do, Dr. Phil's interview. I'm always afraid to play his interview, Princess Mitch, but I do have a 5-minute clip of that I could stop a lot. I can't play the whole thing because I'll get pulled down, but I do have a clip of that I want to show you tonight. And I want other people to see what you're saying is telling. What do you mean by it was telling? What does that mean? Yeah, that bedroom was creepy. The house was creepy. Everything about a lot of the things were creepy. And hello to you. All right, so let's listen to this for a little, and then I do want to play that clip.
And she's gone. I mean, it happened that fast, according to Candace Wells, Summer's mom. So let's go back to the scene. I want to show you a photo first. This is a photo of the house. Let's take a close look at this, because when I first heard the story, and if we could drop the letters on the bottom so we get a clearer look at everything. You look at the house here, and I looked at the house, and when I first heard that she went downstairs, I was wondering, is there a door? Is it a walkout basement? But as you can see from the cinder blocks, it's not deep enough. There is no door. There are some windows on the bottom, but the back door, that's the back door. So if she goes in the front and Mom is hanging out around the front or somewhere out there, and she exits the home, it would have to be through that door, because in this shot you can see it almost looks like there's doors over there on the basement, but it's not. Those are windows. So the only door is over there, which looks like the back door. Let me bring in our special guest joining us as we take a look at these pictures and think about what happened here.
Yeah, and we have to look at houses like that, and we have to think about there's many communities that are like that. Unfortunately, we're looking at that house and saying it's creepy, it's unsafe. But a lot of times in places in neighborhoods like that, trailer parks, that's not even a trailer park. I don't know what that house is. It looks like a trailer of an add-on of something that's not safe for kids. That's where many people live, unfortunately. And that little girl lived there. She's a little angel. Nobody disappears. Where is she? In any case, Dr. Phil's got skills, and that's why he doesn't want us sharing his information without getting pulled down.
Here, Joseph Scott Morgan is with us, professor of forensics at Jacksonville State
And Joseph Scott Morgan's amazing, so I want to hear what he says.
University, former senior investigator for the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office and forensics media analyst. Also joining us in Chicago, Illinois, private investigator Erica Morse. Great to see you both. Joseph Scott Morgan, I'm going to start with you with the picture. Let's put that picture back up of the home. As you look at that home, if in fact she goes in there, it seems to me she'd have to exit out that back door, and within 2 minutes, she's got to be gone, like not in the yard. She's got to be in the woods somewhere.
Yeah, it all depends on points of entry in this dwelling. If that is the single point of entry, and the one that the mother would suspect that she would have to exit from, you can see the large wooded area to the rear. So my thought is this, Vin. One of the things that I'm kind of toying with, was there somebody that potentially had gained access to the interior of the house that may perhaps have been lying in wait for this little girl, that had access to her, that had identified her, maybe over a protracted period of time, maybe they were watching for the wood through the.
He's absolutely right. You can get right into that house easily. You can go right in through that board right there in the window. Marilyn, you're right. Wealthy or not, look at what just happened to little Corey Michelot and Christopher Greger's family that thinks they're upper class people when really they're all a bunch of demons, in my opinion. So wealthy or not, horrible crimes happen. They don't discriminate, but look at that house. And if someone wanted to grab little Summer Wells, you can go right on in there and do it. I bet you there were people coming and going through that house as they please. I know there was a lot of drugs in and out. Those people were on drugs when they were doing the interview, for Pete's sake.
The woods, just to see if they had an opportunity. And once maybe perhaps they made entrance into the house, they could have snatched her at that point, or they could have waited until she exited. I think one of the keys here is observance and collection of any kind of physical evidence within that dwelling that cannot be associated with anyone or tied back to anyone that is domiciled there. Any kind of stranger DNA that might be in there, say for instance, touch DNA that has been left behind. Of course, that would mean that the scene would have had to have been secured and that they could have tested for it at that moment in time.
Erica,
It's
your
gone
thoughts
now.
about the initial part of the story, that within 2 minutes she's out of that house. It seems to me she would have had to have gone out the back door, because I think if she went out the front door, someone would have seen her. So if she snuck out the back and was an adventurous 5-year-old, she had to make a beeline for the wooded area.
Correct. And I think if she had left on her own, I think she would have been found by now. There would have been some.
Yeah, and this lady's right. I mean, there's Erica Morris is absolutely right. This is just, this is kind of me looking at missing children, going back to Summer Wells, seeing her as being a platform child, the poster child for all children missing. There's no way that if she walked out of that door that they wouldn't have found her body by now. Her body would have been found. If somebody trafficked her, obviously we probably would never find her and she'd be somewhere else. I don't know how trafficking is in that particular town. It just doesn't seem like that would be something. I feel like we're going to come back in 15 years from now and we're going to have some DNA somewhere that they found on somebody, or they find bones somewhere. And I hate to say that, but we still have to look at it. And yeah, if she had an accident and passed, they would have found her body. There's a lot of things that's not right with this case, but we're not looking for her to come home. We're looking to bring her body home to her family.
Indication of that.
In my opinion.
Remember, they are still looking for a Toyota Tacoma in regards to this situation. So this really does feel planned to me in some way or another. The property itself is very rural. I don't see this more as a crime of opportunity. I see this as somebody, like was already said, where someone was either lying in wait or identified that a child was in the house, because I just don't think there was enough time for someone to have inadvertently driven up, walked up, grabbed her, and gone. Mom's passed a polygraph test. That is fantastic. So now they've ruled her out in that regard. They can start spreading.
There's 111 people in chat. Make a wish for all the children to come home. If you look at that picture, she's adorable and she looks like she just woke up. But if you look a little deeper into that picture, that also looks like a hoarding house and a bit of a mess and a bit of just yuck going back there. Like, I don't know. She looks malnourished in this picture. The background looks creepy. I don't know. It's not a good picture that I would have wanted to share with Court TV. To me, it doesn't look just like a kid that was, just woke up with messy hair that day. I'm not happy about that. And I'm not happy about that house. And a lot of things are just unknown. And if anybody knows, who is it? Candace knows just got a trip her up and think she's afraid of Dawn finding out the truth. That's interesting. Summer had a terrible life. She did. And I wish someone else could have gave her a better life. Let's listen a little more. Then I want to see what Mr. Deception Detective is talking about with Don Wells and how he's tripping him up and what he thinks, because he has strong feelings about Dawn.
A little bit further. I am also equally encouraged by the fact that Texas EquiSearch is involved, or I'm sorry, Midwest EquiSearch, and they're good. They're really good at what they do, and they have a lot of.
This is 2 years ago, folks. I'm giving you a recap. So we're 3 years later and nothing.
Different technology to use, and so I think that their focus is probably going to be that wooded area and some others.
Yeah, they're coming in over the weekend. Let's take a look at a really wide shot to give you another perspective here, Joseph. As you can see where the house is, there are no neighbors there. There's no neighbors.
Nope.
And that arrow again is pointing to that same door that we've been pointing to in the other pictures. I just look at so isolated, Joseph, so isolated. That's what is so striking to me.
Yeah, it is. And this is one of the things regarding what Heather had stated, that this is, in my opinion at least, a planned event. This is not something where she's in a large metropolitan area. Someone would have, first off, would have had to have known that this residence was back there. So as an investigator, you begin to think about that. Who would have access to this area? Who would know how to get there? Who would know the points of entry and exit? And where?
Now, when he says that, I know who would know the points of exit and entry, the people that came into the house as well. So just focusing on the parents, and I see all the interviews and I see that they probably are all drugged up. And so people said, oh, it's them. And we're going to probably see that again tonight. But I would like to talk to Dawn, because when you do have drug traffic, when I say drug traffic, when you're doing drugs and you have people that are doing them and traffic coming in and out of your house, and you see a little girl like that and you want to take her home, you know exactly how to get back and how to get in and where to go to get her. So that's not a far stretch when you see that property and how rural, I can't even say it was or is, anything. Ex-lovers, visitors, someone that drops something off for them, somebody that picks something up. I remember someone talking about how she loved being in church with the people. You're absolutely right. Some of the worst people in this world are people that hide behind the church, hide behind Christ and the Lord. It's very odd how that works.
They could make their way through there without being seen. So it requires some indwelling knowledge and familiarity with that specific area. I hope that the wooded area around there was kind of locked down. The reason is if there was a point where an observable point where an individual could have been laying in wait, for instance, they may have stayed there for a while. And as a result of that, they could have left evidence in that specific area, say cigarette butts, candy wrappers, footprints, anything like that. So it has to be thoroughly searched. And that's the key to all of this. I agree. I don't think she just wandered off in a straight line and left. Remember, she's barefooted, Ben. She's not going to make it very far. She might be just sitting in the woods crying.
Does this sound like almost parallel to the story we're hearing with Sebastian? Except Sebastian's a teenager. Supposedly he was barefoot, and now we got all kinds of madness going on. If I wanted to block out the Sebastian case and not think about it, there's no way I even could, because it's on every station all the time for hours. It's insane. So of course I have to say something about that. What state and town is that in? That's a good question. Someone will answer that in chat right now. I can't think. All right.
In the short period of time, I think somebody got their hands on her.
Okay, Erica, if someone is lying in wait, and we're looking at all these incredible images that we're getting to really get an idea of what this area is like, what's the escape? How do they escape? Do they park down on this road and then walk up and wait in that wooded area around the house? How do you get from, okay, there's a little girl alone in the house, or steps out of the house, I grab her, and then I get completely out of the area, and no one sees me? Honestly, folks, I don't think someone would even have to do that. I think
If I wanted to walk up to a place like that, just walk right up. Nobody would even notice. They would be like, oh, if they saw you, and were paying attention, they wouldn't pay that much attention, or they wouldn't say much. They would think it was a visitor from somebody that lived inside of the trailer. I don't know if that was grandma or what, but I don't think it would be that hard to do. I don't think you need an escape route, to be honest. Especially addicts, a lot of them become criminals and start doing things they've never done before. You're absolutely right. They have thoughts, evil thoughts, and things happen. Hawkins County, Tennessee. Thank you, Bree. So that's why I didn't know. Tennessee, Hawkins County. We're still talking about Tennessee. Very similar cases. Children missing. They don't vanish. Sometimes I wish my kids would vanish for just like a few hours, but they don't. And not in that way.
Well, we don't know who made the tip or the report regarding the Toyota Tacoma. And that would be a key aspect to me looking at this from an investigative standpoint, because where that Toyota Tacoma was spotted could tell us whether or not somebody was lying in wait potentially. They have not said if this is a witness or a suspect or a person of interest, I should say. And so the location of where that vehicle was seen that is of such keen interest to investigators is something I would really be interested to know. Because if it was a mile away, then someone had to potentially grab Summer and walk or dart. That's why you always start at that last known location and work your way out. 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile, 4 mile, 5 and 6. Because there is, again, there's physical evidence that can be found in those locations if somebody is kind of stuck. And I recall Dad saying from his previous interviews that he wished they had cornered off or locked down that area sooner. I do remember him getting very upset because that area had been almost not.
This was from 2 years ago. So she had already been missing for a year. This is Court TV with Vinnie Politan. And you can see here, it was 2 years ago. She had been missing already, missing since June 15, 2021. And I'm doing a recap so everybody knows. They can see the house. They can see the parents. If you don't know the case, before we get into the Dawn Wells with Deception Detective.
Locked down enough. And so I think there's a concern that somebody could have waited and gotten out. And again, I would go back to the location of where that vehicle was allegedly spotted, because if it was too close to the house, that could be a getaway vehicle.
All right, we've got two more angles of the house that I want to put up on the screen as we continue to examine the scene of where all this took place. And again, we're going to look here at the house. And again, the red arrow going to that back door that we're looking at. And you can see on the other side of the house, there's a little mobile unit there. That is on this part, it's off to the right. But as you look there, I guess you could make a quick exit and not necessarily be seen because the woods are relatively close, and it's that small window of time. What are your thoughts in speaking with witnesses through the years on their ability to accurately kind of remember concepts of time?
We didn't know that yet, Bree, but we're about to talk about her aunt vanishing in 2009. After we talk about Deception Detective. That's a good question. I didn't even tell you what we're doing tonight. I believe she was sold the proof elder. Yeah, that's a good possibility. The further I look into this case, the more I see possibilities like that. I don't see possibilities of her like overdosing. I mean, kids aren't stupid if they, unless, and I don't say it's stupid because they overdose, but unless there was like a fent and you touched it or something, I see more of a kidnap situation, somebody that knew her, or possible trafficking because of what the parents were doing, and bringing people around the house like that attracts those things.
Because Mom said, within 2 minutes. Joseph, do you think it was actually 2 minutes? Do you think it could have been 10 minutes? Do you think it could have been less time? How accurate generally are witnesses when they recall a time period like that?
Well, I think the first thing you have to do, Vin, is remember the initial information came in vis-a-vis the brothers. And so that's what Mom had said, at least. And so that's important to kind of peg them down relative to when they actually last saw her, and how do they measure time in their young minds. Exactly.
How does Mom measure time when she's doing methamphetamine? 2 minutes could have been 20 minutes, folks. If Summer left the house, police dogs didn't pick up. Same thing as Sebastian. So, yeah, how do you measure time when you don't really have a time of measure? I don't know. I think that's off. I think 2 minutes is like one of those things you say, it happened 2 minutes ago.
how do you put a measure on this? So you have to do this in kind of a plus or minus fashion here. Also, relative to access and how quickly could you make your way out of there? Now, if it's a frenetic environment, disorganized, maybe mom doesn't always have accountability relative to the kids. It's out in the country. You know, kids can just roam and rip and roar and that sort of thing. I know I did that when I was young. Mom might not remember specifically. And as you go down this timeline, as you move down linear time away from that critical point, memories become very faded. That's why it was very, very important for law enforcement to get to her as expeditiously as possible and grab that kernel of current information, because as time goes along, it'll begin to.
And you're absolutely right, Miss Chronic. I like the Miss Chronic with the smoke. I have no idea what you're talking about. Just kidding. I love hearing everyone's different opinions because we just don't know what happened. It could be anything. And it could be that we're never going to find anything and she disappeared, and it's going to be one of those cases in 30 years from now that we still talk about. There's a lot of children in that area and a lot of children nowadays that are just gone missing. And why? So this is going to highlight that. I'm glad there's not a bunch of things going on right now with the case that have nothing to do with anything. I would much rather them still have it as a cold case, look into it time and time again. Maybe some DNA comes up. Maybe they're looking at somebody, but they don't know for sure. Maybe they'll get maybe they have DNA and they haven't said anything, but they don't have anybody to match to. Who knows? How many kids have passed in a car because their parents are getting, so many theories. I can't even, I won't even say no to anything nowadays.
A layer, and her memory will change over a period of time. So you have to go back to those initial statements and check them for the veracity.
Erica, what are your thoughts about the boys and their recollection of what they saw, what they heard, and how you can get information from someone that is young?
First of all, they would have brought in, I'm sure, someone specialized in talking with and interviewing children. It's definitely someone with a social service background in conjunction with law enforcement, who is perhaps someone with a child forensic psychology background, who could really extract that information properly, because children do perceive time differently than adults do. They may not even been watching a clock. I believe I may have read a report about video games being involved. That can easily distort time. So you would want somebody who specializes in understanding how to ask the questions of these children, depending upon their ages, and how to get them to recollect things more accurately. Additionally, something I wanted to note, the number one challenge that any parent of a missing child has reported to me throughout the years is the ability to accurately remember time. Once a parent is told that their child is missing, time stops. And so nailing down that timeline can be challenging. When you hear something like 2 minutes, it could be 15, it could be 5 or 10. It's hard to determine. I think that they're probably doing the best they can, and getting to mom as quickly as possible was a key aspect of this. Interviewing those brothers and nailing down just to the millisecond, honestly, is going to make all the difference in the world. But time is something that is very.
And I don't think at this point time's going to matter 3 years later anymore. And if they are living in this house, they probably are, which makes me feel a little bit more comfortable that they didn't just move out when your child goes missing. That's what's so suspicious, and why people are looking at Sebastian's parents. And now we're looking at crazy Seth. That's all over the place. That originally I said, and I'm not going to bash him, I backed him and I saw him as this father that cares. And I'm sure he does care, but he's off his rocker right now, folks. And I don't know what the heck, why he's off his rocker the way he is. There's proof Don used to put her. There's other proof, I think, of other things that he used to do to her, and I'm not sure, but yeah. All right, let's finish this so we can get into the Don Wells interview. And if you do want to support the community so we can get that Don Wells interview and help the channel grow, please hit that like button. I was on a couple of channels last night just surfing. I was just watching TV, and I had my phone in chat, and there was people saying, wait, are you the guilty of crime? Are you the one that did the interview with Corey's mom? Like, they don't even know who I am or anything, but a lot of people saw the Bree Michelot interview, and that happened because of us. That happened because of the crime community getting her on the channel and getting together. And I do want you to know, I have more content. We're going to bash Chris hard. So I have an ex-girlfriend of Christopher Gregor that came out and that's coming to me that wants to stay anonymous. I have some text messages and I want to tell you right now because it's upsetting me, but the things he says to her that when I read to you, and I put this episode together of Christopher Gregor's ex-girlfriend. We're not just talking about Bree, we're talking about an ex-girlfriend now. When you hear the things he says to her, you know he's the devil. He's an abuser. And if he ever gets out, or when he gets out too soon, he will hurt somebody again. I had no idea Christopher Gregor was that kind of person to everybody. He was just an abusive guy. So Jose Roman, I don't know who that is, but
Very difficult when a family is in shock mode.
All right. And as Erica mentioned, Midwest EquiSearch will be there this weekend. So we'll see if there's any updates that happen.
All right. There's no updates, folks. We just wanted to, I just wanted to do this with you. And I wanted to hang out on a Friday night. We want to keep missing children in our radar. Summer Wells, particularly. There's not a lot to cover on it when things don't happen, but we still keep them in light. And we have Deception Detective to tell us how to handle a liar. How do you handle a liar? And we're going to feature that with Dawn Wells. So we're going to get into that next. And then if you guys want to hang out longer, I always have more for you. I always have more ready for you at all times. So let's go. Deception Detective posted in his forum that he would like for somebody like a female interviewer, such as guilty of crime, to cover this case and get an interview with Dawn. Maybe he would talk to me. I will be very sympathetic. I'm not leaning one way or the other. I'm just leaning. And I'm going to say good morning, Maria. It's the nighttime evening for me. Happy Friday, everybody. Before we start this, isn't Jose the guy from the Candace, New York, Candace cheated with? I have no idea who that is. The case remains open and ongoing. Investigators continue to follow up on leads and tips. Anyone to find the information about Summer Wells' disappearance is definitely urged to contact TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. Thank you, Jen Gracia. And it said that in the last video as well. So thank you for calling that out. Yeah, Dee Dee is coming up. We love Dee Dee. And I love when he calls me out in his forum. I love when he calls out guilty of crime. When he calls, I come. I say, I put the cape on and I go running. So, Jay, do you know from Jay from the lab? He did the interview from Dawn and might be able to get. Yeah, we're talking about that. I don't want to give away all the secrets, but I do know that. And yeah, we're working on it. And that's why I'm doing this episode right now. So, yeah, you might not want to watch out for I don't know who said that, but Dee Dee's been trying to get this interview. He has been trying to get this interview forever. And whatever we got to do to make it happen is what we're going to do. So if he's more comfortable with a female, I'm happy to help. Hello, Tiff, Justice, Kylie, CS won't stop. All right. Dawn has colorful language. Okay. Colorful's fine.
You are a liar. You are a liar. You are a liar.
Hey, meet me face to face.
Shut up.
When a liar's back is against the wall and they can't fool you or evade you, the only option they have left is to try to threaten you. And that appears to be what Dawn Wells is doing. And the irony is, it means you're very close to the truth. It's typically the last stand before they break. If Dawn and Candace Wells are unintelligent and guilty, how have they fooled the police for so long? I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis, and this channel.
And it exists because we love you, Mr. DD, and keep doing what you do. And if anybody wants to know or take the poll, he has a DD forum, and I think he's going to do a part 2 for the Madeline Soto case. So since we're covering that case, we want him to, so we can come back and do a reaction to that video. So we're doing it DD style. We love DD style. And I can see why he wears shades, though. You know, I was wearing my glasses at first and it's just way too bright in here. So shades it is. And my new logo will show you just that.
Exposes lies. Today we'll watch an interview Don Wells did with YouTuber Josh Diaz, highlighting his deceptive techniques. Pay attention because these are very common and you're likely to encounter them in your daily life. Decide who we analyze next by becoming a channel member. Link in description.
Oh, I think it's him. Everybody hang on, because I'm gonna be nice.
No, you haven't been nice though. The whole time, you know, you've been talking all this crap. But now that I'm live with you, say what you're gonna say, man. While I'm talking to you, say what you're gonna say.
Well, look, man, it's
Why
really.
are you gonna be nice now all of a sudden?
Wait a minute. Are we gonna talk, or are you gonna talk over me?
Wait a minute.
No, you wait a minute. You
Well,
called
you're
my show.
No, you've been sitting here. You're the one.
Yes,
sitting
it's
here
my
saying all
show,
this
Don.
stuff about me. You have no idea about it. Yeah, it's your show. I don't even need to talk to you really because you know what? People know the truth.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
All right. Now you hear all this testosterone going on. That's not going to happen on my channel, folks. I have zero. I don't have testosterone and I am very empathetic. So I will listen to him. I'm not going to yell at him and tell him all this stuff. This is a great interview for DD to highlight, but I guarantee you this won't happen on my show. But it's happening right now, so it's great.
Well, can I ask you a couple questions?
You're a Chris McDonough wannabe.
Whatever that means. Okay, well then you're a scumbag, not wannabe. Talk to me. I have a question for you,
man. You know what?
Let me ask you a question, Don.
He said, "Whatever."
No, let me ask you a question. Why do you idolize Chris McDonough?
I don't idolize Chris McDonough. Well, probably because he didn't molest kids when he was little. I like people like that.
You like people that molest kids when they're little? Really?
No, that don't.
Well, then you got me f***ed up, don't you?
Yeah, I guess I do.
Yes, we're going to be good cop, bad cop duo. I'm sorry. Well, if you need a little testosterone, then that's all the little testosterone I have. But I put that aside along with my ego, and I leave the empathy out. And yeah, I'm not trying to go to the lab at all. I see how some of these people talk to other people, and I'm not down with that. I demand complete and utter respect or we're done. So, but this interview is great.
But can I ask a question now?
Yeah, you really do, man.
Can I ask a question now?
No. You.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well,
got me way off base.
You should have read the Bible more, buddy.
I love my children.
I didn't say you didn't. I never said you didn't.
Oh, man, you just got to sit here and run your mouth.
Yes.
Like Mr. Chris McDonough going after little 14-year little boys. What the f wrong with you?
Yes, correct. That's
What's
a
wrong
good
with
one.
you?
No, but you are an admitted one. You're an admitted one.
No, you are.
If you're not aware, this is my 11th video analyzing the Summer Wells case. And early on in this series, I said that I believe Don Wells
Hold on, let me finish
and Candace Wells are both low IQ suspects. In other words,
all right, low IQ suspects. I wanted him to finish his sentence. He has 11 in the series, and we could definitely tackle a lot of those by doing Summer Wells case and DD collaborations. If you guys like that, let me know in the chat if you want me to do more like this. Yeah, oh my God. We do have to make the light of it. Summer is missing. Absolutely. But in order to keep this in the spotlight and to make sure that we understand that we're still looking for it, we don't want the case to go cold. We have to do things like this. And we're not yelling at each other and calling each other names. We're just laughing at those people that do that and they think it's a normal interview. Those are not my kind of interviews, folks.
I don't think they're very smart. And that is reflected in the way they lie if they are lying. And I think they are. For instance, sophisticated liars use semantics to mislead without technically telling a lie. For example, Bill Clinton, when he said, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman." However, low IQ liars do not have enough command of the language to do little parlor tricks like that. So they often rely on diversion to distract their accusers and take the interrogation off the tracks. For example, Don started off this interview by attacking Josh, and Josh took the bait. To his credit, Josh recovers and tries to ask Don a question. And now, what do you think Don will do? Do you think he will inject more emotionalism into the conversation to get out of answering? Or will he do something sophisticated, like tell the truth, but tell it in a way that it misleads, similar to what Nicole Kessinger does, in my opinion?
So you're an admitted
I was a little kid, and so were
No,
they.
you weren't a little
I
kid.
can't
She
help
was
it, they
5
don't
years
wanna
old,
fit their
Don.
part.
Don, she was 5 years old.
Man, stop it.
You were how old? 12, 13? How long did it go on for, Don?
Yeah, I was a little kid.
No, you weren't a little kid. You were a
I didn't know
teenager.
that. Hey, at least I admitted to my part.
Good job.
But
Congratulations.
They don't want to admit to their part.
She's 5.
I was a little kid.
She was
and
5.
I was 12.
Yeah.
Hey, at least
older.
I'm man enough to admit.
This is a good one, Deception Detective. Thank you so much for sharing this interview. I just want you to know, folks, I really don't watch these type of shows. I appreciate them and the content that comes out of them, but this is a lot of drama to me and going back and forth and blaming. You're not solving anything. And yeah, we're laughing. Deception Detective knows this stuff. He can take this and intelligently put together an analysis as we are, and we can see the kind of man that Don may or may not be with what happened in the past, and maybe he's redeemed himself, and we can talk to him about his redemption and what he has to say. Don's sister's a sweetheart and has a really good cooking channel on YouTube. You just don't know. So if I got him on my show, I would talk to him from a very sympathetic and empathetic point of view. This is just, these are not the channels I typically watch on my free time.
My mistake.
How does that make you a man?
Admit your mistake.
How does that make you a man?
It don't make me a man. It makes me a man because I admit that I've made a mistake.
Okay,
But
can I ask you about Summer?
Neither can you. What have you done?
Can I ask you about Summer?
What have you done in your life, little?
Get it all out, Don. Get it out.
You made mistakes.
Yeah, sure.
You're not perfect.
I'm not.
You ain't nobody.
No.
You're not.
Nope.
You want to sit there and play like you're high and mighty?
No, I don't.
Like you've never done wrong? I would like to know really about your past.
Have at it.
You ain't nobody either.
Have at it.
You made all kinds of mistakes, but you know what? You ain't man enough to admit one mistake you ever made in your life, are you?
Well, I regret taking this phone call since you won't ask me or let me ask a question.
This is another common diversion technique. And I see it all the time with embattled podcasters like Stuttering John or Dark Side Phil. It's known as to cook with, or you too. In other words, it's the technique of flipping the script and getting the accuser to defend themselves for doing whatever they're accusing you of. In other words,
that's a good call out. And I don't ever let that happen because I just stop it when someone does that. And Lorraine Yanez, drama doesn't do anything, but you know what it does? Don't like those types, but what it does do is it allows us folks that are on a higher level and a higher IQ and just a higher level of life. I feel like life is like a game and you have to excel to that next level. Every time you do something good or you get past this test that life throws at you, you get to a higher level. Every time you avoid someone that yells at you or someone that wants to punch you, you walk away from, you definitely get smarter about it and you become more knowledgeable. So you avoid things like this. I would just walk away. I wouldn't regret taking the call. I never would. I just wouldn't engage. Maybe start with the sister coming on. You know what? I'll start with any of that. I do like that. I regret taking this call. You never admit anything. You never admit anything that you done either. I know you are, but what am I? Pee Wee Herman. All right. Let's listen to the smart man up on there.
You're distracting the accuser by calling them a hypocrite. And instead of taking the bait and defending himself and talking about how he's worthy enough to interview Don, Josh addresses Don's combativeness head on. In a tongue-in-cheek way, Josh says the only thing he regrets is taking Don's call because Don's not answering his questions, which is totally correct. So Don failed to distract Josh this time. And now let's play what will happen next. Will Don come up with a clever, deceptive response that's misleading but technically true? Or will he do something else, something childlike?
I bet you do because you're a little and you talk just like in Trevor Lee's. You're a Chris McDonough wannabe.
I am. That's true. That's true. Okay. Hey, Don, why did the dispatcher say that Candace went for a walk and then she said she didn't go for a walk? Oh, he hung up. Well, that was a great phone call. Hilarious.
Oh, I'm sure he's going to come back because Dee Dee's about to say something, folks. And just know that this doesn't get you anywhere. The interviews that get you somewhere are interviews like we had with Bree, interviews we've had with Jenny on the show, interviews that we've had with the ex-roommate CM of Jennifer Soto. That's connected a lot of dots, folks. And those are the interviews that help I know this case inside and out. Thank you, A Crime to Remember. I love people that know these cases inside and out. That is like the Madeline Soto case for me. I know too much about it, and I hate knowing that much about it because it gives me nightmares. All right, let's listen some more and see what they have to say. But just know, I don't do these kind of interviews, Dawn. So if we get a hold of a sister, Dawn ever, that wants to come on and have a platform to speak about his missing daughter, and he wants us to be empathetic with him and ask real questions that aren't going to fight, that I'm not going to fight with him and bicker and talk about what he did in the past. I just want to hear from him. Then we can do that.
Hilarious. Dawn, I don't have a daughter, Dawn, but she's not missing. Okay. I'm not perfect.
When he realized his manipulations were failing and he was asked a direct question about what Candace told dispatchers, he hung up. And now he's calling back in.
Look, man, don't call and hang up. Let's have a conversation.
No, you look, man. You ain't boss.
Let's have a conversation.
You ain't boss. You ain't boss.
No, I actually am here, Dawn.
Oh, no, you
this
really
is my
are not.
show.
Yeah, it's your show.
Why did Candace say that she was going for a walk to dispatch?
Man, because that was a miscommunication.
How is
man,
that
how many times do I got to go over this?
But how's that a miscommunication?
Man, because dispatch, you're not listening.
Yeah.
You want me to explain something, but you can't shut your mouth for 5 damn minutes. Because dispatch had a miscommunication. They didn't.
Yeah, it's interesting how he's fighting with him. And I don't know much about the lab. I've used his content a couple times. I appreciate the lab for not being one of those channels that, it's like, don't use my stuff. So I appreciate getting this content and being able to have Deception Detective have it and reach out. But what's up with this, man? Are these guys just having ego wars here and who did what? I don't understand. Who knows about the lab? Are there people here that watch the lab on a regular? No judgment. I'm just curious.
Understand everything. Candace ain't walking down this hill to go for a walk for nobody except for to look for her daughter, number one. And when she did go look for her daughter, she drove her mama's truck.
Oh, wow.
You there?
Yeah, I'm listening. You told me to shut my mouth. I'm listening.
Okay, well, I'm telling you, and I've told it a million times. How many times I got to tell the same story over and over and over? Nobody can hear.
Okay, so you're saying that it was a miscommunication, that the dispatch lady's wrong, that Candace said that she went for a walk, came back.
She was wrong. I never said she was wrong. So you're not listening again. I said it was a miscommunication. It happened.
Don was probably better off just hanging up. And I think he knows that, which is why his preferred method of deception is to simply derail the conversation, which actually makes me curious what Josh was talking about, because it made Don sensitive enough to feel the need to call in and try to derail the conversation. So how did Don fare answering this question about Candace? Well, he contradicted himself. Also, he used distancing language when he spoke about Summer. He didn't say Candace drove, or was it walked, out there to find Summer. He said she went out there looking for her daughter. And if you followed my series for a while, you'll know that this also contradicts things that Candace said in her interviews, which we've analyzed. There are other small issues with Don's response here as well. For example, him saying, I need to tell this story a million times. Well, that could be a benign use of the words.
And that is interesting because if you have the deception deck, we have a lot of those in this interview. And Dana, thank you. Josh is awesome. You subscribe. He has a podcast with Chris McDonough. I'm assuming Josh is the lab. Is who you're talking about? All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Sometimes I need shows that, that just get right to the point and not too many hours of just talking about whatever. Not guilty knowledge. Again, this is how to handle a liar. But thank you for knowing the guilty knowledge language. That means you're paying attention.
Story, or it could literally be that he's telling a story. And the biggest issue of all with this response is his lack of curiosity about Candace. He's now being told that his wife said something weird to the dispatcher when she reported her daughter missing. He immediately jumps to her defense. And to me, this is a great indicator that he knows the truth and that he has no curiosity that it could be Candace because he knows what actually happened. And we see the same plot hole across multiple series on my channel. For example, we're seeing it in the Sebastian Rogers case. We saw it in Madeleine McCann. William Turrell to a certain degree in the Chris Watts case, and in the Madeline Soto case. In all these cases, a father who was allegedly not there when his daughter went missing has zero suspicion of the mother who was.
It happens all the time.
Well, what about the time discrepancy?
There is no time discrepancy.
Well, there is, because the 911 call was at 6:34.
No, there's not.
Yes, there was, Don. And
no, there's not.
Don.
No, you're wrong.
No, I'm not.
You're wrong. Again, you're not listening. I'm trying to tell you all the truth, but you all want to stir up a bunch of crap like Mr. Chris McDonough wannabe wants.
Okay, this isn't about Chris McDonough and your axe to grind with him. Okay, this isn't about him. This is this is between you and I.
Okay, man, I've been your friend before, and I've talked to you many times in the middle of the night, going through all this trauma and everything else, and now all of a sudden.
Yeah, I have watched a lap before, and I've played some interviews, so he does a great job. Chris McDonough is huge. It says there's been deaths in the circle since then. Yeah, I'm going to show that afterwards. We're going to talk about the missing, what is it? Sister, aunt, cousin, whatever it is. They're forbidden to have contact with the boys, and they'll never get them back. I can't blame them.
You want to act like there's something going on, whoa, and all this crazy stuff. The fact of it is our little girl's missing. And y'all want to act like,
Don, you and I have never been friends. What are you talking about?
You know what? Okay, then we have never been friends. But you want to act like you're my friend.
No, I
and talk
don't.
to me throughout the night, and set me up and make me look stupid.
No, I don't do that. You
have the same MO as Chris McDonough.
Why do you keep bringing up Chris McDonough?
Because you just like him.
No, I'm not.
He come in here and act like he was our best friend. Because you all say you're going to help us find our daughter and everything else. And we turn to you people to help us find our daughter, and then you turn around and stab it in our back just for content and clicks and views. Who's sicker in this situation?
That was a bizarre statement. I'm going to play it again and bear in mind the context. This is the father of a missing daughter talking to a YouTuber who is investigating the case.
And then
yeah, this is in. Let's listen closely to the words. There's too many things going on right now. I want to use the deception deck, but because there's so many things going on and it's going so fast, I want DD to do what he does best. When we're doing the Watts case, it's a lot easier for me to use this. But boy, this is a little bit more, there's a little bit more going on, and it's going on a lot faster than I can catch. So thank you, DD. I saw somebody do a deception detective video earlier that was making fun of DD. And of course, I made a comment and said, like, what's wrong with you? I don't know what I said, but yeah, I'm all about deception detective. And if you got to have a channel that you're making fun of people, you got to come up with new content, folks, especially when you're making fun of a lawyer that's perfected what he's doing. And no matter what he calls it, if he invented it, then he invented it. Whatever it is that the deception deck, how he came up with the rules, he's doing it. He's not making fun of other people. So yeah, to you haters out there, please hate somewhere else.
Turn around and stab it in our back just for content and clicks and views. Who's sicker in this situation?
This is a bizarre statement because Don allows for the possibility that he has some degree of sickness in this situation. That is not at all what I would expect from the innocent father of a missing child. In fact, it's exactly what I would expect from a predator, specifically a manipulative predator who's more concerned about degrees of sickness and whether or not YouTubers are being hypocrites than clearing his name, likely because he knows.
And
yeah, but the problem with this is this sounds like the same thing over and over and over. I could have labeled this Sebastian Rogers. What happened? He's still missing. My show is called Summer Wells. Don Wells is exposed. I want to interview Don. Still missing 2 years later. Hashtag crime news. I could have just popped in Sebastian videos and we'd be looking at the same exact thing. And I don't know why. In Royal Bitch X, I don't take live calls right now. Sometimes I do if we're doing certain shows. I want to look at that in the future. But sometimes I do. If you become a member, we do members only, and then we'll do call-ins because I really need to know my callers. I don't want somebody calling me and then, this type of thing happening because, well, I'll just click you out of there. But thank you for asking. I hope to have you be a member someday.
Candace.
No, you.
Nah, okay.
You are.
Well, whatever
my
you
friend.
think. Whatever you think, Don.
I
Yeah,
know
that's
you
what I
are.
think.
But what
Yeah,
am I?
you're damn right, and I'm sticking with that.
Oh, that's good.
Because it's about your show and you. It's not even about
Thank
my
you.
daughter.
I know,
You
it's
don't
not.
give
No.
a damn about my daughter.
No, it's not. Yeah, you're
And
right. I
Chris
don't. I
McDonough
haven't.
never give a damn about my daughter.
You're right. If that's really how you
Yeah,
feel,
you damn right. I'm
if
right.
that's,
I know.
Don, if that's
I know.
really how you feel, that's a shame. Because
That is exactly
everybody
how
here,
I
listen. Let me say something to you. Everybody's
What
panel
have
that
you-
you, everybody's
Find my
panel,
daughter.
Don. Everybody's panel that you go onto, they kiss your ass because they think you're going to say something and tell them where Summer
Just
is.
like you.
No.
Yeah.
Am I kissing your
Yeah,
ass
yeah.
right now, Don?
No, not right now, but you have in the past.
I
Don't lie
never
to me.
have.
Wow. I'm not really sure what this is getting us other than analysis from Deception Detective, which is really good. And hopefully some outreach. Yeah, this interview is a bit embarrassing, but the analysis that comes out of it's pretty strong to me. It says a lot. And it also kind of teaches us about the cases that are happening amongst us at all times. This is starting to sound a lot like Seth Rogers on the other line or Chris Proudfoot. I have a video set to come up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it later or not. It really depends if I could do it today or not, but it sounds almost identical. And why is that? Is it because both of them have guilty knowledge or are guilty or know something or have done something with them? Or is it because they're all innocent or something in between? I don't know.
Remember
Everybody
that
knows.
time?
They've
Do
seen
you
your
remember
show.
that conversation you had where you called me the N-word 30 times screaming at me? The last conversation that we ever had, Don. Do you really think?
Man, I can't help it if you act like I can't help that. That's not my fault.
Are you drinking tonight?
No, are you?
No, I haven't. No. I might
Doing
have to after
drugs?
this.
What the hell's wrong with you?
No.
We've never had a conversation like this before, but since you're live, you want to act all crazy.
No, I'm not acting crazy at all.
Yeah, but when you know what? When we talk one-on-one privately on the phone, when you're secretly recording my calls and crap, and then playing it later on, man, be real, man. We're live right now. Why are you acting all crazy now?
I'm not. Am I acting crazy?
Whatever, dude.
Am I acting crazy?
Man, you're a total different person when we're talking private.
Wow, I like when Deception Detective says low IQ parents, because when you do something like that or you make a statement like that or you say, and you got to say something just as filler or no, you did that. Like, I thought we were way more intelligent than that in this day and age with instant communication and all of the knowledge, AI at our fingertips. We could literally say, hey, Alexa, tell us this, and then learn it and then know it and have a bigger vocabulary. So it's interesting when Dee Dee says that he notices in all the interviews that their IQs probably are fairly low. And that's not like a stab at them. No offense to Don or to his wife. But when you hear that type of vocabulary and you hear these interviews over and over, and they're saying things like this, it doesn't look so well on what they did with their child, how they raised their child, even if they didn't do that. Yeah, similar to Chris Proud. Yeah, secretly. I have some things with Chris Proudfoot that I want to play later if I do that show or when I do it. Don will definitely be watching this. Come do an interview. Jay will be. I will be very fair. I will not dispute anything you say. And I won't say anything about the dates or your times or try to dispute. Whatever you say is the truth. It's your truth. And I want to hear his truth. You know, when we had Bree on here, Bree Mitchell recently, we had her on here. And then a couple days later, I just did another follow-up with her. And I read an article. And that article said almost word for word what she said. Just free and open in a conversation with her mom sitting next to her, unscripted. We didn't plan it out. I had a conversation with her the day before, and then the next day, yeah, Bree is real. And that's how you know those are the parents that are telling you the truth. There's no discrepancies in what they're saying. And Bree's awesome. She did watch the show, by the way. She thanked us. So thank you to the crime crew. Bree Mitchell said thank you for all the love and support you gave for the show we did. And then she also gave me some more information. And I've got another source, an ex-girlfriend, so we can blast Christopher Greger. So as we make communication and we make friends, sometimes we might not make friends, but we're learning the type of parents that people are and what they're not by doing it over and over and over. So when you do an interview like Bree, and then you read an article that matches exactly up, and every single time you hear her testify or say anything, she says the exact same thing, but not in a storytelling way. That's how you know that people are telling the truth. Conversation with Bruce was fantastic. I would love more people to know who I am, though. They're talking about the interview and they have no idea who I am. So that's a goal for us to get that figured out. Let's listen to this. DD looks, I like that look on his face right there. He's like, oh, come on.
No. Do you remember that last conversation?
Don's attempts to derail the conversation with ad hominem and 2 Cookway attacks has failed, so now he's trying another tactic. He's trying to appeal to Josh's charitable side, talking about how they're friends and how he's treated him and why he should continue to be consistent in the way that he treats him. Josh doesn't fall for this, and Don's going to use a 4th tactic to try to derail this conversation. It's going to come up soon, so see if you can spot it. This is extremely...
See, this is helpful for me when I'm doing interviews. It's awesome that he's calling out the tactics. And I'm going to call on him for my next interview to have him help me come up with some questions. All right.
Common. In fact, there may be no better sign other than mockery for a low IQ deceiver.
Do you remember that last conversation we had where you screamed at me and I said, if you want to know
right now,
I said, if you want to know where your daughter is, go ask your wife.
Man, I do want to. Man, don't even go there.
Then go ask Candace.
You're such a little bitch.
Because she knows, and you know she knows where she is. She knows where she is. You liar. You are a liar. You are a liar. You are a liar.
All right. So the way it's helping Summer on our channel, just so you know, I don't think you're talking about our channel, but how to handle a liar featuring Don Wells. Deception Detective is teaching us how to handle somebody that we think is lying. And this interview, I don't know how it helped. I'm not going to put down anything, but this is the exact same thing everybody else is watching right now that I'm avoiding with the Sebastian Rogers case. Every time I go to relax and watch something on YouTube, it's hours of content of Sebastian Rogers and people just fighting and lying and telling all these weird stories, which I don't understand either. So I'm glad I'm getting it out because it's really bothering me that this is not helping to find Summer and none of this is helping to find Sebastian. I would rather have 0 likes than to sit there all day fighting with people and saying things about this and that, and she said this, and he yelled at her, and they did that, and they're spending this, and who did? I don't want any likes. I'd rather just go do anything else.
Hey, meet me face to face.
When a liar's back is against the wall and they can't fool you or evade you, the only option they have left is to try to threaten you. And that appears to be what Don Wells is doing. And the irony is, it means you're very close to the truth. It's typically the last stand before they break.
Hey, meet me face to face.
Shut up. Shut up, Don. It's always, you always want to fight. You always want to fight somebody.
No, I don't want to fight. I just want to see how you act.
I would be the same way. I'm talking to you right now.
No,
you're not.
Ask your wife, Don.
Let's bet on that.
Ask your wife where she is. Can you ask her?
If my wife knew where she was, you don't see her broken heart.
No, I don't.
For real, shit?
No, I don't.
Well, you need to. You know what? Do you realize what she's been through?
No.
You know, look, let's put everything aside for a minute.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
Do you know about all the attacks and everything that we've been through, from the psychics to the fake search teams, from the police tearing our house apart over and over again? Can you not tell me that you wouldn't be traumatized through all that? Do you know that we both passed our lie detector test with TDI? Both of us passed that.
Well, that doesn't matter.
Sorry, I'm going to fangirl a little bit when Deception Detective's in here. Everybody that doesn't know him, welcome Deception Detective to our chat. He does a fantastic job, and I'm going to put out the power of positivity when we get an interview with Don Wells, Deception Detective, and I know you can hear me now because I know you're here. I will call upon your help for some questions. So if you would help me out with that, That would be fantastic. Thank you so much. I am going to do that. I've been waiting for Jay's reaction to this one. Well, here it is, DD, and I'm going to need your help because I am going to get that interview with Dawn. Watch me go.
No, yeah, it doesn't matter to you. Of course not.
Well, it doesn't matter to
You
law
just
enforcement if
want
they're
drama.
kicking your door in while you're in jail.
Dude.
It does matter to law enforcement because neither one of us are in jail for anything to do with our daughter.
No, not yet.
It matters greatly to me. It might not matter to you, but you know what? To a lot of people that's listening to this, it matters to them. Why doesn't it matter to you?
That you're not in jail or that you passed a lie detector?
No, because you want to create drama for
Yes,
yourself.
you're right. I'm the one
That's all that
I'm the
matters.
one that has caused this.
My daughter does not matter to you. What have you done for my daughter?
Fabricating an airtight story is virtually impossible. Even major Hollywood studios with unlimited budgets and professional teams of scriptwriters can't do it. So it should be no surprise that Don and Candace Wells have a plot hole in their story. And Josh has recognized the same plot hole I pointed out earlier, which is Don was not there when Summer went missing, yet he has zero suspicion or curiosity about Candace and Candace's grandmother, who were with Summer when she allegedly.
Which, does that sound exactly like Sebastian Rogers? And that's why I wanted to cover that tonight, because I wanted to go over all the rumors, and then this is just like a carbon copy of it. Thanks, DD, for the congrats on 12K. Yes, once you get that interview, I'll be in your corner. Thank you so much. That's going to make us work even harder to do this, folks. Carly, Bree, anybody that can help get us connected with Dawn. I think we are the dream team, DD. And yeah, definitely, I always fangirl over him. And it doesn't matter if I have 120,000 followers, still loyal to my people. So thank you for being here in the early stages. I love all these collaborators, or all of these content creators that have such love for the small people and that help us out to get up there with no threat. So thank you. And yeah, this is a great video that we're analyzing right now. It's teaching me a lot, and it's teaching me for when I do my interviews, how to work, what to look for, and the different stages you might have to go through if you get somebody that is combative.
Went missing. What's more, Candace's sister disappeared when she was a kid. So there's actually a history of his mother-in-law losing children. But Don, like every other hoaxer we've analyzed on the channel, does not recognize the plot hole because it's very difficult to put yourself in the position of someone who's actually in a situation. So when it comes time to defend Candace, Don does not say that Candace doesn't know what happened. He doesn't even say that he doesn't know what happened. Instead, what he does is a tactic we often see low-level liars do, which is ask questions to insinuate a response. In other words, it's a lot easier to lie through questions that imply something than to actually make a declarative statement. Because if
very true, you declare a statement, you're locked into it. Wow, a lot of you are asking a lot about Deception Detective, and he thinks a lot about the Proudfoots. You should go back into my playlist and take a look, because he has a lot to say. I do want to address this real quick. I know we're doing Summer Wells case, but I want you all to know I have some good news, although it's a little bit it's good news. It's a little bittersweet. So tonight, when I'm done here, I got to go check into my hotel again. We have to move out of the house. And next week, my half of the house, the attic and the roof, they're going to rip out the house. So the asbestos will be removed. I'm breathing a little funny right now. I have like this wheezy congestion. So I'm glad I'm going to be moving out of the house. It probably is going to take another 3-4 months, knowing the insurance companies and the amount of money that it's going to take to fix it. But we're making progress. And next week, all the asbestos will be ripped out, and we're going to move into a hotel tonight. So thank you for asking. I did want to let you know, since everybody's been so kind as to donate and help us out while we're moving back and forth. It just helps with having to eat out, the gas, everything that goes on, and the time I spend going back and forth. So appreciate you for asking. I'm not going to talk about myself anymore. I just wanted to let you know, since tonight is the night and we're going to be gone all next week. All right. So if I'm not on here next week, yeah, I'm already exposed to asbestos. Yeah, absolutely. And right now I'm wheezing. So I'm glad that I'm going to get out of here soon. I noticed that today. All right.
If you actively declare something, people can hold you to it. For example, you don't see her broken heart. Do you know about the attacks we've had? Wouldn't you be traumatized? These are all questions Don asks to lead Josh down a path, but Don stops short of saying that Candace is innocent himself. He doesn't even say that he's innocent. Instead, he implies it once again through questions. Do you not know that we both passed our lie detector? Do you not know that lots of people care about that? And then, of course, he goes back to his classic techniques of diversion by accusing Josh of just wanting to stir up drama and then asking Josh what he's done for Summer. In reality, Josh doesn't have to do anything for Summer. And Josh can monetize every single video he makes about the case, because what Josh does is totally irrelevant to Don and Candace's guilt or innocence. But that is how low-level liars distract people. They make it personal. They don't want you accusing them. They want you defending yourself. So you always need to be on guard when someone's in the wrong and they're trying to make you qualify why you're worthy of accusing them or why you're worthy of investigating them.
Matter to you.
And everybody already knows, right? When you ask someone a question and they answer your question with a question, you already know that they're evading your question, avoiding your question, and possibly going to lie about your question. Why? We don't know why. It depends on what the topic is. We just hit an hour and 11 minutes. I just saw 111. So make a wish, everybody. I am not religious. I am spiritual. And I do believe in the angel numbers. We see always justice for the children that need it and anybody else. All right, let's go.
What have you done for my daughter? Let me ask you that.
What have you done for your daughter? That's the question.
I've searched for her.
Oh, crap.
I've
That's
put up
such a
with
lie.
assholes like you.
Oh,
Hey,
my
don't
God. You're a
overtalk me.
liar.
So much.
I put up with assholes like you over and over again.
So
for my
has
daughter
has
to
Candace
keep her
searched
name
too? You
alive.
and Candace went out and searched?
Yes, she has.
When?
All right, there you go again. A direct carbon copy of Sebastian Rogers' case. Why is that? Thank you, Jan on the Lamb. You do a terrific job despite it all, we're going to say. And I appreciate that. Hopefully soon it will be gone and we can be back to normal without asbestos. But thank you. Yeah, I do have a wheeze right now.
We've searched all over the place.
Okay.
Can you go out? Let me ask you this. Can you go out and search 1 billion homes and just beat on the door and keep the door in and say, is my daughter here? No, you can't. So what do you expect us to do? The next best thing to do is to go to social media.
Mm-hmm.
And what do we get? Is assholes like you.
Mm.
If you followed my channel for a while, you should be very familiar with leakage. But if you're not, I'm just going to read the rule quickly. Then I'll point out two instances where Don appears to be leaking what he actually knows about Summer's disappearance. Liars can unintentionally reveal the truth through their choice of words, as it's challenging to suppress real memories while telling falsehoods. If someone repeatedly uses an unusual phrase or word, it might be a clue worth investigating. In this short segment, Don's word choice appears to show that he knows Summer won't be found. The first instance of leakage was when he said that he puts up with all these asshole YouTubers to keep Summer's name alive. That's very different than saying, I'm putting up with all of you to hopefully help find my daughter, or to get the word out about her in case someone spots her. In other words, it doesn't seem to even occur to him that something better could happen than just simply keeping her name alive. The other thing he said was, how could I possibly search 1 billion homes for my daughter? This reminds me of when O.J. Simpson said, I'll be searching for Nicole's killer for the rest of my life. It implies that he knows the killer won't be found. In Don's case, it implies he knows that Summer is not in a house. Why would he have to search 1 billion homes? Why not start with the first 10 neighbors and move out from there?
You put up with
dramatic
like you for the sake of our daughter.
Right.
Yes, sir. Now get real for a minute.
Okay.
We're trying to be real. I want to be real with you,
I'm
Don.
listening. I mean, I'm okay. Let me ask
you,
you,
man. That's what it's about. That's why we do this.
Well, let me ask you a
That's
question.
why we let Chris McDonough come into our home.
Look, whatever.
He said, I'm going to help you find your daughter. And what did he do? He stabbed us in the back in every way possible.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't believe that either. I do know Chris McDonough. I don't know him personally, but I know of him. And I definitely know he wouldn't do that. I think they feel that way, the Wells family, because they've been so attacked, under scrutiny, and who knows what they are going through. I would like to know at 3 years now what they are going through, what their circumstances are, what the police are telling them, and anything that they can say about the case. I think if they're free to say anything, they're not under investigation. So
that.
Then what has he done? Besides have he railroaded into prison?
Has he put you in prison?
He hasn't done nothing. What?
Has he put you in prison?
He tried damn hard. He tried to railroad me into prison.
Because of stuff.
Because that's what Chris McDonough does.
Well, because of the things that you've done, right?
So the guy analyzing is Deception Detective, and he's on my channel a lot. I have a whole playlist of DD collaborations. We have a love fest. All right. So we help each other. Well, mostly he helps me. I'm the small YouTuber, but you know, I play a lot of his content, and I do reaction videos. I have his deception deck. So go check out Deception Detective. When you're done, one of the mods will drop a link for you. So you can go check him out after. You'll see him on here a lot if you're a subscriber.
I haven't done nothing. Not that any other little kid hasn't done, and nothing that you haven't done yourself.
I've never done that,
sir.
Don. I've never done that.
Oh yeah, right.
I've never done that, Don.
Liar.
No.
Yeah, you ain't done.
Not like that. No. I have never. When I was 13, 12, or 13 years old, I knew a 5-year-old.
Whatever, man. Nobody believes your bullshit, man.
No, they do. They don't believe yours.
Nobody's perfect. Well, hey, man, you know what? I told the truth. I made some mistakes. Yeah, I admitted to it. But you know what? They didn't admit to their part of it.
That was an interesting statement, though, too, when he says, I told the truth. I actually would never say that. I would say I tell the truth. I don't know if DD's gonna, if he's gonna say that or call that out, but I literally wouldn't say I told the truth, even if it was about a situation, because I didn't told the truth. I always tell the truth. Even when it hurts, I tell the truth. Even if I don't like it, or you don't like it, or it's gonna sever our relationship, I tell the truth. So let's see if he calls out I told the truth. That was an interesting thing for him to say. And for other people, when they use statements like that, it always makes me suspicious. You may be smaller, but you do have the respect of the big guys, Jay. Thank you. I appreciate that, Jazz. And I hope it's because I base my content on logic and reason and my reactions to it. And we also do lots of research. So
I think Candace lied to you from the beginning.
You know what? Let me tell you something.
I think Candace lied to you from the beginning.
Chris McDonough.
I know you're obsessed. Now listen to me.
Was two signed statements. So you don't want to listen.
No. I want to ask you.
I have to detect.
Now they're getting into allegations about Don's dark past, which I analyzed in the first part of this series. I recommend you watch that video next. It's on your screen now. If you want me to analyze the second half of this interview, please hit like and comment the lab part 2 below. Also, check out Josh's channel. The link is in the description.
El Mendoza, please say hi to Maya. She's waving at you on the TV and says it's cool sunglasses, lady. She's 3. Well, hello, Maya. I'm glad to see you today. I'm glad you see me today, and I love that you're watching me. And I'm shouting out to you because my daughter watches YouTube with me too, and she wants shout outs as well. Her name is Reese. And when Reese watches it, I love when the YouTubers shout out to Reese. So hello, Maya. Let's stay safe. Mommy's keeping you safe by watching these shows, so she knows how to keep you safe and away from predators and liars. So no problem. All right.
Below. Until next time, stay true.
That ended too quick, but that was a great video and a great assessment, and I still have more. So let's see what we got going on here. Janet Lamb is the same. It is the same as to tell the truth, which means nothing. Did I miss something? It is the same as to tell the truth, which means nothing, huh? Not sure what that means, but thanks on the cool shades. I have some more. Wonderful. Thank you, Jay. I now recall you mentioned him the other live. Thank you so much. I like his style. New favorite channel. Looking forward to becoming a new member when my new bank card arrives. Everyone says, hi, Maya. What's up, Maya? Hope you're having a good Friday night and you're being very safe. All right, let's listen. I have some other stuff that I told you I was going to play for you, and I am. I do want to I do want to queue up that, and I hope we don't get pulled down because Dr. Phil dominates, and we wouldn't want to do that, but we do want to do that. So I do have a clip, of course, and I also want to talk about Summer Wells and Where's Aunt Rose. All right. So I'm gonna have to stop this a lot. So please don't come in my comment or come in my inbox and tell me to be quiet because I have to play this and talk so I don't get pulled down. Okay. Dr. Phil's a big boy on campus, and I could easily get pulled down for that. So I will stop frequently. Here's a quick clip.
Candace, if I understand correctly what you've said, you took Summer in the front door.
Yes.
And you said to the three boys, keep an eye on Summer.
Yes.
Okay. Then you did what?
Then I went back outside to my mom's camper, which was right next to the house, and I had to fix her knee brace for her.
Okay. She had a knee brace on?
Yeah.
And that took?
Only 2 minutes.
Okay. And then what'd you do?
Okay, there's with the 2 minutes again. And again, I have to stop. I want to hear that one more time, what she says, because I want to match up in other interviews and just hear for myself what I'm thinking. I'm going to go back for a second.
Then you did what?
Then I went back outside to my mom's camper, which was right next to the house, and I had to fix her knee brace for her.
Okay. She had a knee brace on?
Yeah.
And that took?
Only 2 minutes.
Okay. And then what'd you do?
I went back in the house.
When you went back in, what'd you see?
The three boys sitting there watching TV.
Okay. And no Summer?
No Summer.
Okay. What'd you do then?
I asked the boys where she was at, and they told me that she went downstairs to play with her toys.
Okay. Would she do that? Would she say, hey?
Okay. So same story, consistent across the board. Some people say this is a telling video. So I didn't watch the whole thing. I only got clips of it. Says she's stuck at 2 minutes. Yeah, she's stuck at 2 minutes for sure. She's telling the same story, and I think her kids filled her in more than anything. I'm trying to listen how she talks about Summer, just in what tense, if there's any verbal leakage, if we see anything. Her body language means very little to me at this point, just because I know that she's probably high on her own supply of whatever she's got, folks. And, it just is what it is. But that we can get past. I remember that interview. Oh, all right. Let's listen to this a little bit. And again, I have to stop. If you guys want to watch it, you can always go over to the Dr. Phil show. Carly dropped that in the chat, and you can watch it yourself. She is recite word for word rehearsed. All right, let's listen.
I'm going downstairs to play with my toys, or would she just go?
No, she'd tell the boys.
What'd you do then?
Well, I hollered for her at first.
And no response?
No response.
So what'd you do?
So I went directly down there. I looked for her everywhere I could look, in the room, under the blankets, whatever. And she was gone.
Yeah. All right. What's the way to get out of there besides coming back upstairs?
Just the basement door.
That back door?
Yeah.
Okay. And if that door opens, could the boys hear it?
Now, I wonder if she's defensive because she is a drug user and she's on something. I don't know what at this point. She doesn't look like she did in the earlier interviews where she was. I'm like, what? Super methed out. She seems a lot more chilled at this point, but she does seem on something. But she does seem defensive, which is odd because you're going on Dr. Phil that has this huge platform and trying to get the word out that your daughter's missing, anything you can. She had her teeth pulled. She never wanted a girl. Yeah, she's definitely on guard, but she's on guard and defensive almost. It's weird.
No, if they had the TV up loud.
Okay. All right. Is she known to go out that back door?
She'll go out the back door, but then she'll circle around by her swing.
Okay. Back around to the front?
Yeah.
What we're seeing here is looking out that back door, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Now there's a road there. Is that a
driveway?
A driveway?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, can that be seen from your mother's camper?
No.
Oh, that's the back side of the house.
Okay. And I thought somebody said earlier that you could see that. Horrible mother. Yeah, I thought somebody said that the mom could see from the camper. Now, the date on the interview, I mean, I can look right here for you. I love my audience. This was 2 years ago. So, right, we're at June. We're actually almost close to the anniversary date. So thank you for asking about that, because June 15th, 2021 is when little Summer Wells went missing, and we're June 7th, 2024. So we're right around that anniversary date. And also my wife's birthday, by the way. Just thought I'd throw that in there. So if I disappear for a few days, it's the wife's birthday on June 13th. She's a crazy Gemini, and she might kidnap me for a few days. So it's not my fault.
She can't see that from her camper.
Not that part, no.
If you step out on the road there, you can about see your camper.
And that drive there goes up to the highway?
It circles around the house. Right there, it goes to the top, and then it goes down around to it. It circles all the way around the house.
Okay. Is that the back door?
That's the back door.
That's the door to her room?
Yes.
Okay. If she came out that back door and there was somebody there, could they have grabbed her right there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then how would they make their escape? Back this direction?
Well,
away from the camp?
It was interesting how he's almost seeming like he's trying to trip them up. And I know Dr. Phil has his methods, but the way he's talking and the way they're talking, he looks them directly in the eye. We just hit 222 in chat, folks. So please make a wish for all the children. Justice. We need the justice system to be corrected highly. And not that we're going to do it individually, but we definitely can do it as we band together. You've seen what the crime crew has done so far, and we've done a lot. So anyway, hit the like button. Look at how defensive they both seem to be, because have you ever noticed when you look somebody in the eye and you're really close to them like that, if they back off, you can kind of tell what their body language is when you're asking them something. You can tell if they're tensed up, if they're trying to shut down from you. It's very interesting. Well, love back, Debbie. Hearts to you. That was a Gemini. Could be a little crazy at times, but the best. I mean, yeah, Geminis are cool. Hit the like button, say a prayer, all that stuff. All right, let's listen to this. It's interesting. Don always looks different to me too.
The dogs the scent went straight down that dog trail by that yellow generator, right from where that picture's taken.
You're saying then that this is the back door?
Yes, sir.
And you're saying that there was a scent that went this direction?
Yes, all the way down to Ben Hill Road.
All the way where?
All the way down to Ben Hill Road.
Okay. Now, if this...
All right, and I'm just pausing it for a second because I don't want to play the whole thing, get it pulled down. So let's look at what he's trying to do. Now, obviously, Dr. Phil has a high IQ. He's a smart man. And I wonder if he's trying to trip them up a bit to see if they say something different than what they've said. He's got his big map out with an arrow pointing. Yeah, I haven't seen this whole interview. So, yeah, tell me what you think of this.
Looks like a big circle. How do you get back to the highway?
So you go down the driveway to Ben Hill Road and then turn left.
Yes.
And it takes you out to the Beech Creek area.
Okay,
Pull that
so
up
for
now.
someone to drive away,
There
they
you go.
would have had to come on around the circle and exit here?
That's a possibility, but we think they were parked down on the Ben Hill Road.
Okay, so you think they would have walked on down through the woods to the road
That was
and left the car down at the road?
Yes.
It's interesting why he thinks that. I wonder what made him think that. I wonder if the cop said maybe they saw weird tire tracks that doesn't look like something that looks out of the norm from what they drive, or there was bushes that were disturbed, or if they purely are just coming up with a story to tell. I cannot tell, but what I can tell are those bright blue eyes and the little pin drops there. All right.
And that's what the dogs indicated. The scent went down to the road, and then somewhere on that road, the scent disappeared.
But how would they have known she was going to be there? Would they have gone inside the room to get her?
Possibility. I wasn't even aware the trail was there.
Okay. So your
Until
belief
when?
is this might be the last spot that Summer was on the property?
Yes, sir.
Right there.
Yeah.
That she was put in a vehicle there and driven away.
That's an interesting it's an interesting assumption that he's coming up with. And another interesting thing, it correlates that like Chris wasn't there with Katie and he's doing all the talking, but he wasn't even there. And I want to thank you, Lynn, who just sent me a $5 Cash App. I appreciate every single one of you. for anything and everything that you do. And the reason I keep that down there is to remind you to hit the like button, but also so I don't get a bunch of people in chat saying, "What's your Venmo? It's all on my YouTube page." I appreciate it, but it's not necessary. Thank you so much. All right. Interesting. Again, he's speaking for his wife, just like Katie and Chris. Why is that? He's looking him dead in the eye, too.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description.
Okay. All right. If you guys have a story for him, I only wanted to play a clip of that. Obviously, I don't want to get pulled down unless you want me to be done right now. Then if you want me to be done, then I can do that. So, all right, let's pull that down. I do want to play another clip. I want to talk about, okay, so control. Yeah, I agree. Controlling the narrative. Absolutely controlling the narrative. I can see that because he's less high. See, those are the answers sometimes that I look for just to lighten up the mood, because then you start hearing all these other things going on and you're like, what the heck is going on in this case? I'm gonna play a little bit. I think we could. Are you guys interested in this? Actually, Summer Wells remembered 4 months ago. I'm gonna play this so it just gives you an idea, and then it gives you a picture of her updated picture, I do believe, and that's why we're here, to not just talk about the parents, not just try to get an interview, but to remember Summer and see what she looks like now. I think they do have an updated picture of what she might look like. This was 4 months ago. I couldn't find anything newer.
Yesterday marked Summer Wells' 8th birthday. She has been missing since June 15, 2021, and is the subject of an ongoing statewide Amber Alert. Summer was first reported missing from her family's home in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County when she was just 5 years old. Her disappearance sparked weeks of searching throughout the county. The TBI releasing a statement on social media acknowledging Summer's birthday and stating that she's never forgotten. Their post also says that agents continue to investigate Summer's disappearance, although little answers have been found. A prayer event was held last week at Cedar Grove Baptist Church in Kingsport ahead of her birthday. Robin Lane, the organizer of the event and someone who knew Summer's family, says this about holding the service.
It just means even more to me that we're continuing to share her face and get her name out there. Tonight's event is about gathering support from the community to help pray and support the families of missing children.
In June of 2023, the TBI released an age-progressed photo of what Summer might look like.
That is why I wanted to show you all that, just in case. You never know. So there's an age progressed. Those always kind of creep me out, but they're actually really accurate. And the few people that have come home, it's very interesting when you see something like that and it matches. Psychopaths can pass a polygraph, so passing isn't always a good way to test someone. Yeah, that polygraphs, I think, are a way also to get someone to confess, folks. They've said that. The police have said that quite a bit, that they use that like they did in the Chris Watts case. She told Chris, the interviewer told Chris Watts, if you take this polygraph test, you're basically, you might as well just admit it now before you do it. Before you take if you're going to take it and you did it, tell me now, because the polygraphs don't lie. And Chris still went ahead and did it, but he was so nervous that he confessed right after. So I don't think polygraphs are really, I don't think they're really meant for that. Sadly, I don't think her teeth would be so healthy looking. Yeah, this age progression always looks a little creepy, but I do think she would look like that. And if somebody was to see somebody that looked like that in that area, that you never know. She could be one of those people that was kidnapped. It comes back later on. Crazier things happen in this world. We can do stories on that all day long. All right, so that's an enhanced version of her and remembering
might look like.
Summer Wells.
The photo was created by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The TBI continues to urge members of the public to reach out if they have any credible information by calling 1-800-TBI-FIND.
All right, let's stop. We don't want to. We're not going to watch Dr. Phil, folks. And if you're still with me, then I have another video that is just interesting to talk about. All right, you might have guessed it by the music. Let's see. Or maybe not. Who likes Mike from Profile and Evil? We talk about Summer Wells and Where is the Ant and how it ties together. And you know, this guy is amazing. So, Profiling Evil talks about Summer Wells and Where's Aunt Rose. They want to explore the case a little further. And that's what I want to do with you. So let's talk about it.
Potential homicide cases that are really interesting. Let's watch and we'll get back together in a minute.
On closing argument by and strange.
We actually saw.
And just minutes later, mom is looking for
some really important things that touched.
Okay, we want to hear
Mike King, your thoughts about Candace Wells, the way she described what was happening that day, which seemed very, very normal. Mom, grandma, and everyone's planting flowers, piece of candy, wants to go inside.
You know, you hit on some really important things that touched me, Vinny, and that was if you're making up a story, a piece of candy doesn't really get entered in and make a lot of sense. The fact that she says the boys saw her and said that they went downstairs, that's something that law enforcement could quickly resolve by talking to those boys. And if you've noticed, the family has actually sent those boys out with other people just to get away from all of the noise going on right now. And they would have had an opportunity, I think, to ask those kids, did you really see her going inside? So that kind of drifts me toward maybe they're telling the truth on all that.
Erica, she went inside and within minutes, 2 minutes is what mom said, 2 minutes, she went to go look for her. Now, maybe it wasn't 2 minutes, maybe it's 4 minutes, maybe it's 6 minutes. I don't know. But that's what she said. And she's only 5. You know, she's not running anywhere. Someone would have to be lurking right by the home at that moment and just grab her if someone did.
And that I agree with. 2 minutes also could have been 20 minutes. 2 minutes to her, 2 minutes could have, I'm exaggerating when I say 20. So 2 minutes could have actually been like 10 or 15 minutes, but I think there may have been some generational abuse going on. I agree with that. In your opinion, accident with the boys, possibly. Yeah. But it would have had to been really quick for someone to come down that road or sneak through there and then not know. Oh, I don't know, someone else to look out for. Statistical impossibility. Agreed. And that's why Vinny's calling it out. All right. Let's hear what Mike says too.
Correct. You know, in looking at the information on this case, I would have to say that there's actually a lot of, there are gaps in the timeline. And mom actually addressed this in an interview, I believe. She said it was a busy day. We were swimming. We made a trip to the pharmacy. We were planting flowers. She went across the street. Then she came back to see the brothers. There are some holes in this timeline from what I can.
Does this sound kind of like Sebastian Rogers also? We went to the roadhouse and we ate and then we came home and then we went back out and then we were here and then I heard a thud and I went to the kitchen. I can probably just say all this stuff too. It kind of sounds like that to me. I don't know why this case sounds so similar. I know they're not connected. They're both in Tennessee. Is that correct? But these missing children's stories and then looking at the parents, it's a high probability in these cases that it was either the parents or someone close to the family. Statistic wise, that's just the truth.
Can see. And I think that this case is going to be timeline driven. It is a rural area. And so I think that they're going to really have to drill down to the millisecond on this. And yes, having the brothers there is going to be very helpful because they can rule this in or rule this out very quickly as to whether or not the boys saw her. But I think that there are still a lot of unanswered questions here. It is a rural area. Unless someone was lurking or waiting to, you know, for an opportunity, then I think that this has to start at home. You have to start at home and work your way out.
Yeah, we're looking at all the search crews. People have been out there, intensive search, but you can see how.
And that is an intensive search. And I always appreciate that when the police do that, the community comes together, but the drama takes away from the children, everybody. That's what I want people to be aware of. When we do talk about Sebastian, it's not that I forgot about him. I just can't be in that drama because none of it makes sense to what they're even doing. They're not looking. Where is Sebastian? Nobody's looking for him. I hear now that Seth is trying to get money for interviews and he may have started a YouTube channel. All of you guys can help me fill in the blanks because I think a lot of you have been following this. There's a lot of this on Dolly Vision. There's a lot of this on T-Rev. I work all day, so I don't have time to sit there for hours, you know, just pondering this stuff. And kudos to them for doing that. that's just not my thing. And in 2 hours worth of content, I might find like one nugget that's usable, and I don't have time for that.
Spread out everything is. It's not a busy road. I mean, many of us live in neighborhoods where there's cars going by every couple minutes. That's not happening here. It's just not happening. Now, Summer's father gave an interview to the Kingsport Times News, and this is what he said. He said, in part, statistically speaking, there's a good chance she's already dead. I hate to think that. I love her with all my heart. If nothing else, I'll see her in the resurrection. As long as I keep the commandments and do what I'm supposed to do, I'll see her. Mike, this is an awful case because it's a 5-year-old girl. I mean,
that was pretty as real as it gets. That's something that we would say. That's interesting for him to have said that. I mean, I think that Summer Wells is not going to come home ever alive. It's not going to be one of those cases, where the guy had, I wish I knew her name because I followed that case. Was it Kristen Smart? It's not going to be a Kristen Smart case, but for the dad to say that, very interesting.
If she wandered off, she could have wandered into the woods or something, and then they just didn't look in the right place, and she just kept going and going. But
again, I'd love to talk to you, Dawn. I'd love to hear what you have to say about that statement right there where you say you'll see her the next life, the resurrection. I'd like to hear about your religion, your spirituality, what you think, where you think that what it may have happened and when you think she may have passed. What was it immediately? Someone took her, kept her for a while, that why she's not alive, and your thoughts on that and how people can help to even bring her body home at this point. So I'd love to know. That was one of the realest statements that I've heard somebody say, especially somebody that is being scrutinized. That's an interesting one.
I would think they would have found something with this massive search that was going on, but maybe not. I don't know. Is that possible that she could have wandered off to a certain extent and then run into trouble, whatever it was?
I think it's absolutely possible. And I really enjoy kind of the discourse that's going on. I really appreciate what Erica just said, because the question becomes, did she get into the house, and can we validate that she was in the house? That would solve one problem. But even if she did get into the house, that doesn't tell us what may have happened after.
Same thing. Did Sebastian ever make it into the house after the roadhouse? Play-by-play, folks.
And she could have wandered into the woods, crawled under a piece of shrubbery. There are so many rivers and creeks around that place that this is a kid who, if you look at the pictures in church and when she's out and about, seems to be pretty darn comfortable taking off on her own and not have a mom and dad holding on to her every minute. And that concerns me a little bit, Vinny. But boy, she could disappear under a bush in a heartbeat, and people could walk within feet of her and never see her, right, if in fact she was walked away and was lost. If she wandered down to the road, then there's a possibility that there was an opportunistic thing where someone grabs her as they're driving by. So you got to keep looking at this thing from that perspective. And I agree with Eric. You can't leave the house till you're comfortable leaving the house. But if those boys put her in there, then you got to somehow come up with a reason for her to leave. And she looks like she's pretty adventuresome.
Erica, Dad.
Yeah, I think we could dispel that one, that she left on her own. And yeah, I'd like to hear that from Dawn. I'd like to hear that statement from him that's not in a rant, that says, somebody took her. I believe in my heart of hearts, she's no longer with us. We're looking for her body. She got too big. They didn't want to keep her, but let's continue the search and not fight with each other. I don't understand why it's so hard for a parent to say that unless they know something. It's really not that hard to just say, hey, everybody, I want to go on your platform and talk. But there's no arguing going on when we're talking about my child, and we just want to bring her body home if it's a body.
Dad was being very realistic. Statistically speaking, there's a good chance she's already dead. What are your thoughts on that issue itself? Yeah. I mean, if it's an abduction of a child of this age, is that someone that could be abducted to be raised by a different family? Or is that out of the range of that age? What are your thoughts?
I don't think it's outside the range. I think every theory has to be explored. Mom and Dad have taken a lot of heat. This is a case that has actually become a social media nightmare. I don't know how the investigators are managing this. But Dad is a little disconnected, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There are a lot of, like I said, there are a lot of unanswered questions. She absolutely is of the age where she could be taken and placed with someone else. In that case, I would expect her to keep her first name. It is a
Yeah, I'm not so sure that happened in Jamila. Yes, another child case. We want to keep Summer Wells. Her date of her being kidnapped is coming right up, and it'll be at 3 years. Although, if you look at my list coming up, I have a case that's not children. So take a look at that. I have a case coming up. It's the tattooed faced man. He's from Florida, and he did a killing spree, so to speak, and he's all face tatted up. It's taken 4 years to get to even get to trial. They're at the beginning of trial picking the jury, and I'd love to go over it with you on that case. So take a look. Yeah, Jamila and anybody else that wants to have a break from just children all the time. It is a murder case, but it's interesting to me because they were in this case, they actually had a full-on debate whether or not they should use his tattoos in the trial or whether they should put makeup on him, because he has like Joker tattoos and a swastika on him. And yeah, the guy with the Joker tattoo, somebody just said that he has Joker tattoos, but he also has a swastika and other things that might be prejudicial. And because they're prejudicial, they had a whole hearing on it. And then after they had the hearing, he decided, who cares? I'm going to do it anyway. So yeah, I actually do cover Chad already. So if you look at my playlist, I'm covering Chad Dorman. I just need to go back and do some updates on it. I've been really busy with Madeline Soto. So yeah, definitely every time I think that's taking a break. But yeah, I'll cover Chad some more. Take a look. He has his own folder, but I also have Family Annihilator folder. He's in Family Annihilators and just Chad Doerman. So take a look, please. Watch some of my old videos, especially when I take a break. I have like 250 videos by now that you can watch.
Unusual to retrain a child of the age of 5 to learn a new name. It's a little bit more difficult than say 1 or 2 or even 3. So I think that certain characteristics would stay the same, such as a name, eye color. For now, hair color could change. That is a very rural area. To go back to what Mike had said, they could absolutely miss her very, very easily. If they're out doing searches, this is a search that requires a grid search, shoulder to shoulder, with dogs, with horses, if possible. A very difficult terrain to navigate, and I've done those searches, and you can take weeks just to secure an acre or 2, because you can miss something very easily. I've worked on searches where you have to go back over the same area multiple times. So anything is possible, but again, starting at home, working your way out, really narrowing that timeline down from mom and dad is going to be key in this case.
Let's take a listen to the TBI special agent in charge. TBI is the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah, we're going to just listen to this a little more. Give Summer Wells some attention. There's another 222 right up here in chat. People come in, they come out. I see some people that I'd never seen before. So subscribe if you haven't. In my opinion, she was unalive when she left the house, and the whole story was nothing but a script, and that's why Dawn said nobody will ever find her. Your opinion's completely valid, and it's one of my theories as well. So thank you for your theory. All theories right now at this point, unless it's some crazy aliens came. That's the only one that I don't believe. But yeah, TBI, CPS, the court system, all of that. All of those systems are broken. Thank you, M222. I miss you. I like talking to you in the evenings when we get a chance. So thank you for being here. Third party, maybe. Yeah, of course, a third party may be involved. Absolutely. Statistic wise, it's always, not always, statistic wise, it's somebody. Oh, that was for pick up my daughter, but she's already home. Statistic wise, it's somebody that you know or close to the family when something happens. That's why they always start with the parents, the husband. Then if that is ruled out, they look at a brother, a sister, whoever's living in the house, folks. So be weary of those things. Thank you, Bree, for gifting 5 memberships. This community is growing, folks, and you're going to want to be here when it does, because we're going to have a lot of special members only a lot of special members only things coming up, and we're going to start populating Patreon soon. And so we can do a lot more things so I don't have to say always unalive, or I can't say the real words that adults use, because I don't want to get pulled down. And I do want people to remember Summer Wells and know that we're still looking for her. It's coming up on 3 years. Wasn't CPS supposed to go remove the kids and they were the day late when she went missing? That's a good question. If so, that's like many cases, a day late and a whole bunch of dollars short. Thank you so much for the gifted membership. Thank you to Bree for gifting those memberships. Everybody that gets a gifted membership, now Jan on the Lamb, I'm green again. Thank you, Bree. Jan, you're always generous, so I'm glad that you got that. Yeah, never forget Summer, folks. I don't know what the cornbread mafia is people are talking about. If you guys want to talk about that in chat, you can while we finish up this. Yeah, typical CPS, of course. We have a whole bunch of things to talk about on that.
Typically on an Amber Alert, and the ones that I've been involved in since I have been over this program, within a couple of days, we have a tip or lead or have an idea if they've been abducted, if they may be left into the woods. Somebody saw something that leads us hopefully to get an answer to where the child went or if they were taken. We're going to have some tip or lead. And that is the frustrating part for law enforcement in this case and for the public. We will continue.
They will continue. It will go cold and then something will come up. Thank you, Faith and Repentance. Best community ever. I wish I knew some of you folks and who was behind those little icons there. I know there's people that do watch the channel and they tell me later and I don't even know who it is. So I appreciate you. It's kind of cool that way. Anyway, when it's about to come up on 3 years, Mental Mama. So June 15th, 2021. We're June 7th, 2024. That means it's about to be 3 years. Did Ellie ever check the workplace? The construction? Yeah, we don't know. CPS filled so many kids. Yeah, we could do a whole episode on that. Thank you, M. You're a rock star. You're a rock star. I've seen your rock star pictures and I've heard your videos. So thank you. June 15, 2021. All right. Let's remember Summer. I don't know why she had the haircut, or someone can fill me in. Why was it? Because they had lice, I think, or bed bugs. Probably lice. That house was filthy.
To investigate and search for Summer. In the public's eye, there may not be as much media attention given to this case, but that does not mean that we stop what we're doing. We will continue to use every resource we have that we can utilize to try to find Summer.
Mike, what do you think TBI is working on?
Well, I think number one, they have 900 plus leads. I mean, that's a batch of work to do, and the follow up is going to be incredible. I think you got to start over from ground zero, especially if there's a possibility that this child could have just wandered off and is in the woods, because it's likely if she's there and without any kind of support system that she might be deceased at this point. You start watching for birds. You start watching for things that are going to be indicative of a body that needs to be recovered, and they could certainly go back and start retracing those things. They got to find this Toyota truck that they're so concerned about. And Erica talked about the fact that social media has kind of gone crazy.
It has gone crazy, just like every other case that we don't find the children. And it's weird that they're not looking for that Toyota truck. I wonder if that was to throw off the investigation a bit, because in those towns like that, everybody drives a truck, right? I don't know if it's a Toyota, but you could see how many trucks right there on the screen. 3 trucks in a row, some broken down ones, some ones that aren't broken down. So it's very interesting that they did say a Toyota truck specifically. Why that truck? Why that story? They're either telling the truth or they're not. Now, I heard that Candace, did they say she took a lie detector test? Somebody could tell me. It doesn't matter. The lie detector test, especially when you're a heavy drug user, isn't going to work. We just hit 222 again. Summer Wells is saying hello to all of us. I don't think she's alive anymore, but we do want justice for Summer. I'm a realist. I don't want to be Debbie Downer or anything, but she's been missing for way too long at this point for her to be alive. And I think we just need to bring her home and keep the word out there. Just don't let it go cold like that. maybe somebody with the fresh set of eyes can look at this case a little bit closer. The house still exists. There's always evidence to go back and look at.
With this, there are good and bad of that, and of course I'm on the dark side now, and in this kind of social media world, but things like you're doing tonight, Vinny, are going to be so important, because this family has to keep this little girl in front of the public, and they got to keep looking for her, and somebody will come across her. I always go back to the Elizabeth Smart case. 9 months later, that tyke was found, so you got to keep hope, and I certainly understand.
That's what I meant to say. Elizabeth Smart, 9 months. But there's another one that disappeared for how many years? Like 15 years or 8, I don't know how many years. She came back with a whole squad of kids. What's her name? I know, Jess, you'll know, not the mama. And I do know just right now, it's a Friday and I didn't sleep that great last night. I was up off and on all night. So who's the one that disappeared? She came back a bunch of years later with kids. JC Dugard, thank you. I knew you guys know it, because I know all these, just like I know my name is Steven, that story, poor tragic case. He comes home and then he's a troubled soul and he ends up passing from an accident on a motorcycle. All of those cases I've been studying since I was way younger, folks. So I know these cases, and tell me how you feel about that. Also, me covering cases like that and just putting out the videos, because I'm going to start probably putting out videos too at JC Dugard that aren't lives, just to give you things to watch when I can't be around. Good idea from Bree. Thank you, Bree.
Understand the parents feeling some of the feelings they're feeling.
Here's Ronnie Lawson. He's the sheriff in Hawkins County.
Right now, everything is still on the table. We're still trying to find out what happened to Summer. So everybody's still a person of interest. We're still looking at help from the landowners too, to go back and check their trail cameras, their security cameras every day, especially around the time that she disappeared. We never know who was going to be in that area, and we're still looking for a red Toyota truck. And everything that we do is trying to put a piece of the puzzle together to find Summer. And it may not be something that mean anything to the people. It may mean everything to us.
Absolutely. Steven Stainer, and we can go on a whole rant about that, because Kerry Stainer, his brother, became a he actually did. He became a serial killer. So Steven Stainer and then his brother. Do you guys know about that case? Anyway, let's focus on Summer Wells. But Steven Stainer was tragic, and his brother becoming a serial killer with the women that those were the ones, and they ended up throwing this stuff in Modesto, but it was in the beautiful, where does everyone go see the big trees? I can't think right now. Someone will tell me in chat about Kerry Stainer.
Erica, is that red Toyota truck a needle in a haystack?
Not necessarily.
I'm going to.
Authorities have been real quiet. I mean, they're real careful on this. I shouldn't say quiet, but careful to only release what needs to be released, I think, at this time. They always hold something back, and there's a reason they're looking for this. Not every missing child is the subject of an Amber Alert, and that's because specific criteria needs to be met. And so there's enough there for law enforcement to have issued that Amber Alert. And I think that remains a key factor in this as well. Locating that vehicle is possible. Someone has footage of that vehicle. It's just a matter of finding.
Now, there's another fact here. And Mike, I want to talk to you about this. Aunt Rose Bly is another family member who went missing years ago. A family that has 2 family members missing. This is unfathomable, and she's still missing. And Mike, I know you took a look at this.
Yeah, this what we were talking about was 2 family members, and it was Kerry Stainer, which was the Yosemite Park serial killer. He took those girls, and he did absolutely awful things, and then he beheaded another girl that was working out in Yosemite. He was called the Yosemite Park Killer, and that was Steven Stainer's brother. Now you guys probably know who I'm talking about. Yeah, Yosemite. All right. I could do that one too. I followed that case close.
And you had some maps you wanted to show us to give us a little more insight into the disappearance of Rose Bly, who would be the aunt in this case.
Yeah, we found it kind of interesting. I mean, this young woman's been gone for 11 years now. And just to orient everyone, the big red point down on the bottom's Tennessee, where Summer's case is going on. If you move up north into Wisconsin, that's where we see what's going on. But if we look specifically at the route that Rose took on that particular day, everything that we have says that she traveled about 34 minutes via Cushing, Wisconsin, and then her vehicle was discovered in a truck parking area in the Grantsburg area. So the question becomes, did she make it to Grantsburg? Did someone take her, abduct her? Is she somewhere along that route? Or was her vehicle dumped in Grantsburg and then she was taken further on? And I guess the thing that I wanted to bring out, if we look at the number of women who are similar to Rose since 2009 when she disappeared, these are the women who are missing or are unidentified bodies that are found in Wisconsin right now. Now, the interesting thing is the more we get to a metropolitan area, obviously the numbers grow higher, but there's nothing up in that northwest corner where Rose was going. And so that kind of makes me think, if we're talking something that's serial related, it's got to be something like a truck driver that's moving long distances and covering lots of ground. But the challenge is massive for law enforcement. And the biggest thing I think, Vinny, as we kind of looked at this, is that the two are not related. And yet it's one family that's going through an incredible nightmare.
What a nightmare.
And this is why you guys are so awesome. As soon as we finish this video, I'm going to show you that video of the barrel with the for sale that you're talking about. You guys know your stuff. You're definitely... I'm proud to have you all as the crime crew. I know every community has their crew. We call some of them lab rats, some of them grizzlies, some of them whatever they're called. I don't know all of the names, but the crime crew, y'all know your stuff. When I'm talking about a case and I'm just like spouting off a couple of words, everybody in chat is like, bam, who called 911 in this case? I thought they said the brothers called 911. We'll finish this up and then I'm going to play the that video for you with the barrel. But yeah, we love you too, Red Wolf and the crime crew. You guys just freaking know your stuff. It's a well-deserved name for the crime crew because you guys been watching true crime as long as I have and probably a lot longer for many. All right, I want to show you that bat. So let's watch this. There's Rose Blythe. We're talking about Summer Wells, and her Aunt Rose also went missing. Interesting.
And again, our thanks, Mike, with your Profiling Evil podcast, putting those maps together for us tonight.
Well, I hope you enjoyed looking into the cases of Summer Wells and Rose Bly. To you, that if you know something about them, say something. Reach out to law enforcement and let them.
And on that note, yeah, absolutely. I don't know anybody from Tennessee. I wouldn't know what to do with any of that, but I do have an outreach with you all. So now we're going to do this and we're going to play this. We're going to play this one here. And I love Evil Exists because he always has these small clips where you can see something really quick without watching 12 hours. All right, I'm downloading it so you can watch it. Let's go. All right, here's the red barrel for Summer Wells case.
Video of Summer Wells dancing in front of the red barrel is something that is still on my mind. Today I want to share with you how the appearance of the barrel has changed throughout the case. In this video, the barrel is clearly red, upright with the words "for sale" painted on it. Summer looks like she is being told how to walk initially, then to stand in front of the barrel and twirl. As soon as she wanders too far from the barrel, it seems like someone immediately calls her back. When Chris McDonough visited the Wells property during his interview with Candace Bly, I observed that the barrel wasn't upright anymore. It was on its side with the words "for sale" out of sight. Drone footage of the property emerged, and what I saw on the footage was a complete change in appearance of the barrel. It wasn't even red anymore. It looks like purple, or dark blue in color. TBI specifically mentions the barrels on the property actually. They said that all barrels on the property have been searched. What do you guys think? Is there a hidden meaning here?
What do you guys think about that?
Colin Nesbitt,
I do love you, Nate Eaton, but we're not talking about that right now. I watch him afterwards. I think the barrel is just a barrel. You can find them in the scrap yards that say "for sale" on them, but who knows? Yeah, it could be any of the drug makers, Olga. Yeah, it's interesting. I never saw that either. You do think there's a meaning to that, and you think that it's a trafficking meaning? Is that what you think? It is crazy, and I never knew they changed it. Guilty conscience. The weird thing about it is that they did change it. Had they not changed it, I would say, well, it's just a barrel. Maybe they're selling wood out there, like firewood, or I don't know. I'm not from, the backwoods like that, so I don't do that. Yeah, country life. You're right, Olga. I don't know anything about that, but it is weird that they changed that up, and it is a bit creepy. And search by cadavers, forensic. I think everything. It's been 3 years now, folks. So I don't know what else. Moonshine. What do you think? I think that video was made for advertising, summer for sale. So that's interesting, huh? Maybe we should watch that one more time. Let me go back. Hold on. Okay, so I didn't realize what the video even was. Let me play that one more time for you guys so you can see. A red barrel. Barrels don't get sold in red, usually blue, and then it changes. And why do we even have that video? Where did they put it? Did they look into that?
The video
one
of
more time.
Summer Wells dancing in front of the red barrel is something that is still on my mind. Today I want to share with you how the appearance of the barrel has changed throughout the case. In this video, the barrel is clearly red, upright with the words for sale painted on it. Summer looks like she is being told how to walk initially, then to stand in front of the barrel and twirl. As soon as she wanders too far from the barrel, it seems like someone immediately calls her back. When Chris McDonough visited the Wells property during his interview with Candace Bly, I observed that the barrel wasn't upright anymore. It was on its side with the words for sale out of sight. Drone footage of the property emerged, and what I saw on the footage was a complete change in appearance of the barrel. It wasn't even red anymore. It looks like purple, or dark blue in color. TBI specifically mentions the barrels on the property actually. They said that all barrels on the property have been searched.
And then they do have the pray for Summer Wells, and then I can't read that, and it says call whatever. It's interesting that it says pray for Summer Wells instead of like missing, but I can't read it. It could say that. It just says pray for Summer Wells and then call. I wish I could see what that said. I don't know. There's so many theories, and of course there's theories because we have nothing solid at this point that I can think of. It's all just theories, folks. Dawn called 911. It's interesting because I thought Dawn wasn't even there. Thank you for answering that. It's strange. It's weird. And thank you, Bobby J, that you've been following this since you went missing. I picked up on this way later. I started my channel predicated on serial killers, and I didn't get too far because all these cases hit. You say this video is just her having fun, and I have bought those that said for sale. Yeah, I think people just start looking at things deeper when something like that happens. But what do you think happened to her? That's what I want to know, is what you think happened to her. Do you actually think the parents know anything? Or do you think they just act strange because they're on something and everyone's looking at them and scrutinizing them? Where was the video? That's what I want to know too. Where was the video posted? If you could tell me where the video was posted, then that would be a different story. Did they put that on Craigslist, and what were they selling? Or did they have it in Instagram and some back chat? They didn't have, what did they do? Proof that I don't think forensically test the property. No, I think they did do forensics or swabs or something. I don't see why they wouldn't have done that. People that know this case, I'm sure they checked that property, but it was filthy. So it's hard to get anything from there when you have a filthy place like that. Her room was in some weird dungeon. There's a weird 911 call with Summer crying for help in the background. Interesting. Well, we're going to have to get into this more. We're over 2 hours, folks, and I love you all. I have to go check in to my hotel now, and we're going to start moving out for a week. But I'll still be back. I'm going to try to see if I can get back tonight and hang out with y'all. I'm always a little jealous when I see YouTubers late at night hanging out with everybody, and I can't. But it's a Friday night tonight, and that's my crazy Friday night if I can come back. So I love each and every single one of you. Thank you all for the support. I'm so happy that I only thought there was going to be like maybe 50 people in here. Summer Wells still missing since 2021, folks. Remember that. And please do me a favor. If you want to see the channel grow and you want to see, the whole point of this video was to get me to get an interview with Dawn Wells. Dawn, if you see this video, please, we're going to try to reach out to you. Please reach back out to us. Anybody that knows Dawn Wells or you have a connection, and put my email below. That was the whole point of tonight, was for me to keep Summer in the spotlight and to get a shot at getting an interview with Dawn. And I'm not going to do what Lab, I don't know, the Lab says about kissing his ass, but I do want to have a real conversation with him about what he thinks happened from his mouth. I want to see it from, we've heard a bunch of other times, but 3 years later, what he thinks happened. And I will have other questions ready if I get that opportunity, or I should say when I get that opportunity, because the power of positivity seems to work around here, folks. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jan on the Lam, for always supporting me. And Faith and Repentance, Joyce, Sonia, El Mendoza, bye to the little one, and hopefully I see you soon. Holla Athena. All right, y'all. Have a good one. I'll see you soon.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?